foolish pride. But pain is a sickness that is hard to cover, and it's the reason we mistreat each other. Yeah.
That is not the way that it's supposed to be.
Oh no.
We were meant to live in peace and harmony.
There are so many old wounds and scars
Keeping us apart.
It's time for healing.
Inside of you and me.
Oh yeah,
Healing through our
healing
human family.
all around the world.
Nation to nation.
Spirit,
Soul to soul.
open up your heart.
Your heart and let the healing flow. We got to have healing.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the listening audience. I'm Maurice Selby,
And this is SHIVERS.
and you're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem.
The voice of Harlem.
And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have the one and only
Is it Sunday? For our
see if I can
sermon?
preach, man. Our
on
sermon, right?
Thursday?
We're going to get our sermon here on WHCR a little bit early. We have Dr. Joan Culpepper Morgan from Harlem Hospital. She is the chief of gastroenterology at Harlem Hospital. And we're talking about colon cancer tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome back to the show, Dr. Culpepper Morgan. And
Thank you, Maurice. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
I was on an interview earlier this week at Cook County in Chicago, and I was telling them about you and how you had a whole crowd of people
On
at
the
Harlem Day.
18th? August 18th.
135th and Lenox Avenue, a crowd of people out there listening to that sermon about the dangers and the devil.
Lucifer.
high fructose corn syrup.
666.
That's
what I
right.
call it.
That's right.
Heavy stuff. But welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
And let's just jump right into the topic. This is very dear to my heart because my father actually passed away from this dreadful disease.
Oh,
And
wow.
ladies and gentlemen, this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Culpepper Morgan, but this is one of the most preventable and treatable and beatable, treatable
Preventable
cancers
that there is.
that there is. And this is why we really need to have you get out a piece of paper
Yeah.
and start taking down notes and get ready to share that information, as Sean and I say every week, because
be
this is
stingy.
life-saving stuff that we're talking about tonight.
Life-saving.
And so funny, I'm looking here at the flyer, and Valerie put it down. Don't be embarrassed to death.
That's right.
So we're going to start it right there.
That's what I want people to hear. Don't be embarrassed to death, because the first thing I hear when people say, "Oh, you're a gastroenterologist, what do?" I say, "Well, I do colonoscopies," and then they take a giant backward step because they're afraid. And the men say, "Well, you know, I don't want to have that done." And I say, "Why not?" And they say, "Well, I'm gonna feel violated." I'm gonna say it right now. Take that out of the equation.
True story.
Take that out of the equation. Let's back it up and let's talk about your health. Let's back it up and let's talk about what's really going on, because this has nothing to do with you being a man, except for you to be there for your family
Yes.
once the diagnosis is made and you are treated. Now, colon cancer affects black men more than any other group in the United States. So if we divide us up between black men and white men, and black women and white women, men have a greater risk of colon cancer than women, and blacks have a greater risk than whites. The risk for colon cancer among black women is about equal to the risk among white men. So black men are at the top of this list, but this is not a list that you want to be at the top of, because the cancers occur earlier and they are more aggressive in black men than they are in the rest of the population.
So is there anything in particular that you know of that accounts for that? Why is that the case?
I would say that theoretically it is probably related to diet. There may be a little bit related to genetics, in that we seem to form polyps, which are the growths that precede a cancer. So let me tell the audience, understand that we know a lot about colon cancer. We know what it looks like in its infancy, and that's where we kill it, and we know how to prevent it from becoming a big cancer. So polyps are those things that we remove so that we don't want them to become a cancer. So when you have a colonoscopy, what happens is that the doctor removes those polyps that could later become a cancer. And we know that it takes 5 years to make a polyp, and that after that polyp grows, it takes another 3 years to make a cancer. So we have time to remove it and to prevent you from having any trace of cancer. And that's why we say it's beatable, it's treatable, it's preventable. And let me just brag about gastroenterology for a minute here. So we all know about screening, and you all know you got to get your mammograms for your breast cancer and your PSA for your prostate cancer and your pap smears and so forth. No screening test has been as successful at saving lives as colonoscopy. Colonoscopy has saved millions upon millions of lives. And that's because not only are we screening, but we are removing the early parts of those cancers before they can come to fruition, before they can actually grow.
Literally nip it in the bud.
Literally nipping it in the bud. So I want to talk to everybody out there who's afraid of having a colonoscopy. Okay? Because first of all,
So what are some of the fears as we start out?
Pain.
Pain, okay.
Let's talk about the pain. Now, I want to tell everybody out there that you get good drugs when you have a colonoscopy. It's as simple as that. We put you to sleep. Not totally, you're in the twilight, but you get good drugs. You get
And I give a testimony right now. I give it because I had one about a good 2 years ago, and I'll tell you about that story.
Okay. So and I will tell you that most people will say the worst part about the test is the preparation prior to the test. But let me tell you about the good drugs. We give you a pain medication, and we give you a sedating medication. And then sometimes you actually even get a mild anesthetic. So, I mean, it is totally taken care of. And I'll say I'm a consumer as well. I've had a colonoscopy, and I was personally shocked. I didn't feel a thing. I woke up, I said, it's over. I thought I was going to feel a little tugging, a little pulling, a little something. I felt nothing. They said, hey, Joan, how you doing? And next thing I know, okay, it's time to wake up now. And I said, what? It's done?
Well, you know what? I had the same issue because when I got mine done, and it's so funny because I had two within the past, I think 10 years, just a routine. But same thing happened again. It was like, count backwards, and I was like 10, 9, 8, and then people were talking, and people were moving around, and I was like, wait a minute, because I still feel stuff, whatever. And they was like, sir, it's over.
Right.
Wow.
That's how I was like, oh my God. And then I looked at the clock. It was like about an hour and a half later.
Wow.
As I got to 8, it was
Right.
an hour and a half went by.
So you are not, with modern medicine, you are not going to feel anything. Now, people talk about the idea of taking a tube and putting it up a one-way street. And as a physician, I get that. But I tell all of my patients, and you can be sure that this is the mantra for every gastroenterologist. What happens in endoscopy stays in endoscopy. And I hate to say that I'm not going to know you when I see you in the street, but I'm certainly not going to know you like that. You know, people are worried. They're going to say, oh, my God, she done seen me from behind, so she's going to say, no, it's not like that.
First of all, it's your right as you're protected by the law of the United States,
right?
Federal law we're talking about. Your privacy, your confidentiality is protected, ladies and gentlemen. That is your right as a patient.
Right. But everybody is covered up, and guess what? When the doctor's doing the test, the doctor's actually looking at the screen, because the screen is where the projection of the images. And so people have this image of a doctor staring at your backside, and they're feeling violated because somebody
that's the norm of this society that just gets kind of irritating, because whenever as far as the males, whenever you think about as far as as far as I'm trying to get the right words, say the right words on the radio, but it gets down to the point where you think about
It's a homophobic.
you think about gay, you're thinking about all of that
these things.
because another individual is
Manhood
touching
being
your
violated.
behind, and it has nothing to do with that. It's the norm needs to change to save lives.
And let me talk to the Harlem community here for a minute, because I'm going to talk about our practice at Harlem Hospital. We believe in being sensitive to the patient. We believe in being gentle with the patient. And we believe in having a heavy hand with the medication. Okay, so
heavy hand with the medication.
Heavy hand with the medication, so you will not be uncomfortable in our shop. Okay, we guarantee that. Okay, we give you as much medication, and if we feel we can't do it safely, we call in an anesthesiologist. Okay, so that if you need that extra monitoring, you need that extra whatever. You need that extra care. We call in a board-certified anesthesiologist, of which we have many at the hospital, and they will give you special cocktails that they have.
Got it.
That's even better than what we normally
I love
give.
your analogy, special cocktails.
Oh, yeah.
They're special, man, because they are
special.
I've experienced them, yes.
Yeah. So in terms of discomfort, there's nothing going on there. Now,
But do you feel like that's part of the fear too? Is that people feel like at this point they have absolutely no control over what happens? I'm not gonna feel anything. I won't be uncomfortable, but I'm giving you total license to do.
I'm going to say
what you have to do.
I'm going to say yes and no to that, because when it comes down to colonoscopy, is that I don't think individuals really, as far as what you just said, I don't think individuals really understand why it's necessary. So the only thing you think about
the screening test,
as far as the screening test, why you're being screened, what is, I think education, and I think that's the fear. Once you educate somebody and let them know this is why you're being screened, et cetera, the history of it, as you started off the show, I think that individual's going to say, at the end of the day, I think I'm just going to get it done.
Oh, I'm just going to get it done. Yeah.
And I think that we have a very hard time with the concept of silent killers. There are diseases within medicine that you don't feel. Like high blood pressure. Okay, that's a famous one. People, they don't take the high blood pressure medication because they say, I feel fine. Your blood pressure is 180 over 90. That's not normal. That's not good. You could have a stroke just walking around. But they say, but I feel fine. I'll have a headache if I'm going to have a stroke. No, you're not going to have that headache. So people assume that if they feel okay, everything is fine. And colon cancer, unfortunately, is one of the most silent killers. Okay, and you are not going to necessarily have bleeding. You will almost certainly not have pain. Bleeding is the only sign, and once you start bleeding, that's late. That means that's a late sign of colon cancer. We were already the horse is out of the barn. So famous people who have had colon cancer. Let's talk about Darryl Strawberry. Darryl Strawberry. And he's been blessed. He had his first bout at 35.
Wow.
Okay.
That's young.
Very young. And I think probably the only reason that he survived was as a professional athlete.
Oh,
he had a lot of medical care and a lot of checkups. But and then he had surgery, and then he had a recurrence. But he's living and he's walking, and I can tell you, somebody like that who has cancer at a very young age, I'm sure he's having a lot of colonoscopies, and he's very glad to have them because they prevent him from having to have additional surgeries. But I think people have to realize colon cancer is a silent killer. You're not going to know that you have it, and that's why we have to screen. People don't appreciate screening. You screen for diseases that are silent, that affect a lot of people, and that otherwise, if you don't look for it, by the time it rears its ugly head, it's going to be too late.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, it's getting deep, and we're going to take
a lot of questions.
We're going to let you.
I want to ask me to come back.
We're going to let you digest We got the gastroenterologist. We're gonna let you digest some of that information that we just imparted.
We
you're
got
listening
puns.
to. We have a good time on Health in Harlem. You're listening to Health in Harlem, ladies and gentlemen, on WHCR 90.3 FM, New York, the voice of Harlem. We will be right back after this break, but remember, you can call us at 212-650-6903. That's 212-650-6903. So you can ask all the questions you want about colonoscopies. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
WHCR 90.3
Hey, there he
FM.
is. How's
New
it
York.
going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Can you imagine waking up to a phone call telling you that your child was killed? How about seeing your little cousin lying in the street with a gunshot wound? Or reading in a daily paper that the star basketball player in your school was shot and killed? When young children and teenagers die without getting the chance to experience life, it not only affects parents, it affects us all. Violence in the city of New York has been on the rise for too long because our youth lack opportunities. Kids hanging on the street corners in Harlem need alternatives, like job trainings. So help become a solution. Join Street Corner Resources. Street Corner Resources is at the forefront in helping to eliminate gun and gang violence. They also provide education, employment training, and other resources to the community. For more information on how you can join or support Street Corner Resources, visit streetcornerresources.org. Don't allow children to fail. Allow them to choose.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
It's time for healing.
Inside of you and me. Healing through us.
Oh, yeah.
Human family.
Nations
To nations.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Health in Harlem. I'm MARICE, SELBY.
And this is Sean Shivers.
And tonight we have with us Dr. Joan Culpepper Morgan. She is a gastroenterologist, actually the gastroenterologist,
The one and only.
the one and only chief of gastroenterology at Harlem Hospital. And we're talking about colon cancer tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And we talked about some heavy stuff that, really, I think we drove the points home, but we're going to continue to drive them even more because it's that critical, and that
And
this
don't
is
be embarrassed to
don't
death.
be embarrassed.
Yes.
Don't be embarrassed to death. That's the theme of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Colon cancer
I'll get a
is
shirt
a
that says
silent,
that.
a silent
Get your shirt that says
but
that.
deadly killer. A silent but deadly
Got you.
killer. And we need to get our screenings. We need to get our colonoscopies. That is the message we're driving home tonight.
So one thing I just want to start off, and during the break we was having a conversation. At one point in Harlem, the rates of colon cancer was extremely high, or is it still extremely high? And I know that we were saying that one of the reasons why is because individuals, it wasn't routine to get a physical.
That's
or
right.
to get yourself checked. So can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think we can say that we've made progress, and people are coming to get their screening. There's also the Ralph Lauren Center where people are getting screening. So there's screening going on all around Harlem, and the rate of colon cancer has decreased. New York City is actually one of the best places. I mean, and people joke about how many gastroenterologists there are in New York City, but New York City has got one of the best screening rates overall. And of a black population, Harlem is doing very well. We've got about 60% of our population that's being screened,
That's what's up.
which is far above the national norm, which is about 40 to 50%.
But we need to get those numbers up.
We want them up.
And really quick, we have a caller on the line. This is Brother Smiley from Harlem, and WHCR, actually, I might add. Brother Smiley, you with us?
Oh, thank you for that. But no, not of WHCR. I'm just a contributor.
Oh, got
Right?
it.
Yeah, I'm a contributor.
Got it. Okay, and you have a question for Dr. Culpepper Morgan?
Well, yes, I do. Good evening, Dr. Culpepper Morgan.
Good evening.
All right, Dr. Culpepper Morgan, I have some delightful news. My father suffered from all forms of colon cancer for over 20 years and wouldn't go get it checked out medically.
Oh, my.
But we both had the same name, so he got it confused. He kept saying it was me and it was him. But that's not the long and the short of it. The long and the short of it is, I'll get to the product. It's called Source of Life, solid gold liquid. And the main ingredient is resveratrol.
Resveratrol.
Right. I
Some
don't
red
want you
wine.
to speak to it just yet. I'm long-winded, but I want to get my point across. I was suspected of having colon cancer. They did the examination and the screening, but I had a hernia that complicated the matter. They explained to me that they have to take care of the colon cancer before the hernia. Hernia was giving me pain, and I denied it. They gave me medicines. They told me to irrigate myself. I did all of those things, but I still refused to take the medicine, doctor, because I took my father the medicine, gave him this resveratrol and vitamin B12, and that's my point. I couldn't take the medicine because I wouldn't let him take it, and he was in perfect health. Speak to that.
So what's the question?
The question is, can she speak to the value of resveratrol?
Oh, okay.
Resveratrol.
Okay.
For the prevention of colon cancer?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that there are things that do reduce the risk of colon cancer. There are dietary things,
yes.
High fiber diet, having more folate in the diet. There are habits in terms of being, in general, less constipated, because you have more colon cancer in people who are constipated. So consumption of fruits and vegetables, and we also think that the fruits and vegetables have a lot of antioxidants in them. So all of the natural antioxidants that are contained in, for example, vitamin A, beta carotene is a natural antioxidant contained in all the fruits and vegetables that are all of the yellow and red color. So all of those things are good. Red wine.
I thank you.
Yeah, red wine, which also has so all of those things together will help to decrease the risk. But the problem is that the risk that occurs, and this is 1 in 4, about 25% of the population are what we call polyp formers. And even in polyp formers, if they take everything that we have out there that we know that can decrease the risk and slow down the growth, that's what it does. It slows it down. It doesn't mean that you won't get colon cancer.
I'm aware, yes.
Yeah, it means that you may not get it at 50, you'll get it at 60. It means that if in your family history people got it at 60, maybe you'll get it at 70.
I recommend screening, but I also recommend a product called Sorrel. Are you familiar with that product?
No, I'm not. What is that? What does that?
It's a root formula, and it's designed to almost eradicate the system of any kind of contamination diseases from the inside out.
Okay.
And all generations, I mean, every nationality uses it under a different name. It's being marketed now in proof places, so I need that to be understood. I'm not a product.
So, Brother Smiley, just quickly, and you know what? I'm glad that you brought these points up, though, because you're leading us in a new, important direction in the conversation. We always appreciate your contributions here on WHCR. But just stay tuned, because we're going to go further into this for sure. Thank you very much.
I'm always available.
All right, brother.
I appreciate it.
All right, peace and love.
All right, peace and love to you too, brother. And you know what? The thing is, though, and he's exactly right. There are certain things that can, as Dr. Culpepper Morgan just stated, can reduce your risk or slow the progression of this disease. One thing that it does not do for sure is reverse it. And one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that we really want to point out on this show is that what we talk about is evidence-based medicine on this show. So we're talking about research. We're talking about intense research that have been done or has been done on the things that we talk about. The treatments and screenings that we promote on this show have been studied ad nauseum. They've been studied over and over again. These things are almost pretty much fact at this point,
And
because it's been replicated over and over, and this is why we're saying you need those screenings. And one thing that has been shown over and over again is that this disease, once it takes hold, it does not reverse. This is not something that's just going to go away. There's no magic pill that is going to reverse this, and you need to get these screenings.
And the thing about medicine in general is that medicine is better at prevention than it is at cure once you have the disease. That's a general principle. And I think that people have to appreciate that, many times people say, well, I'll wait until something happens and then I'll let you all fix me. Medicine is not really that good at that fixing. I mean, just to be fair, we are much better at preventative medicine than we are at fixing. So yes, we've come a long way in terms of the radiation and the chemotherapy and so forth that's available for colon cancer. And my hats off to my surgical colleagues and my hematology oncology colleagues for what they do if you have that diagnosis. And I know many of you are out there. You've had your resections, you've had your medication, and you're doing fine. But you also have suffered. And what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to suffer. And we know that 1 in 4 of us are going to get these polyps, and it's very easy to have them removed. But now I do want to say something about diet, because I know a lot of people are saying, well, maybe if I just eat the right things, because how do you get these polyps anyway? These people are just not eating right. It's really not a matter of purely not eating right. But I want to be clear, though, about something. A lot of people think, well, maybe I just clean out myself constantly. I'll take some kind of colon cleanse and I'll just remove all of the toxins and then I'll be fine. Don't do it. Okay? Let me talk a little bit about the bacteria that live with us. We have bacteria.
The good bacteria,
We have bacteria that live with us. It's called our microflora. It's supposed to be there. It's like a sea. Your colon is not a garbage can. That's not garbage in there. It's like an ocean of living organisms that do a lot of good things for you. It helps your immune system. They provide you with nutrients. They provide you with antioxidants. They make things like vitamin K. They make things like folate. The organisms that live inside of us are supposed to be there. Do not flush them out all the time.
See, I didn't know that about your large intestines. Because I'm thinking it's a garbage can.
It is not a sewer and a garbage can. It is a sea. Think of it more like an ocean. And so what you have to do is that you have to provide that ocean with things to make it healthy. Fruits and vegetables and whole grains. These are all things that feed the bacteria that live in your colon. Yogurt. I know a lot of people say, oh, that stuff is so sour. Get used to it. Start eating it. It's good for you. It helps you. It keeps those bacteria healthy. And it reduces your risk of colon cancer.
Bing. And also, we need a bell too on the show. We need a bell sound.
But real quick.
Oh, all right.
Real quick. We have a lot of questions. I want to go back because over the break we was talking about the development of polyps, and I believe that you had said at one point is that polyps come naturally. So it's not like something that you did, or I don't know if it's genetics or not, but can you real quick on that?
In general, it's more genetic and spontaneous, happens in 1 in 4. Yes, it runs in families, but the vast majority of polyps that occur happen spontaneously, and we don't know why they happen. It's not something that you did. It's not something that you didn't do. And because it's so common, and because it happens so frequently and so spontaneously, and because we can't predict, except in certain situations, if your mother, father, sister, brother had polyps, chances are you're going to have the polyps, and then we can predict it. So, but in general, polyps will form, and they just form spontaneously on their own. But the good news is it is very easy for us when we're doing the colonoscopy to remove all of those polyps. And guess what? If we remove those polyps, if you have polyps, you come back to me in 5 years. If you don't have any polyps, you don't have to come back for 10 years. I mean, a 10-year warranty. Who gives you a 10-year warranty? Can you get that on your car? No. Okay? 10-year warranty. It's fantastic.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM New York. We will be right back with more on this conversation about colon cancer. Remember, you can call us at 212-650-6903, and we will try our very best. We have an expert with us, ladies and gentlemen. We will try our best. Dr. Culpepper Morgan will try her best to answer your questions so that you can make informed, that's the key word, informed decisions about this. You do not want to die because of your ignorance, I would say.
Don't be embarrassed to death.
Don't be embarrassed to death. Remember, informed decisions, that's what Health in Harlem is about. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
There's hundreds of fun and simple things you and your family can do to live a healthier lifestyle. Here's 20 of them. Eat less, eat slower, eat smarter, eat your fruits and veggies. Stop eating before you're full. Up your fiber, lower your calories, get off the bus early, do some gardening, do jumping jacks, take the stairs, take one, not two, take on a new sport, take a long walk home, walk instead of drive, bend, stretch, reach for the stars, climb the monkey bars, skip the fudge bars. Search We Can online to find more ways you and your family can get healthy together. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
You're so annoying.
You're so annoying.
Stop copying me.
Stop copying me.
Mom, tell her to stop copying me.
Mom, tell her to stop talking to me.
Kids will spend 10 minutes copying everything their sibling says.
You're such a doofus.
You're such a doofus.
How about 2 minutes to brush their teeth? Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Mom!
A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 to 12 midnight on WHCR 90.3 FM. Peace.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Welcome back to Health in Harlem, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Maurice Selby.
And this is Sean Shivers.
And tonight we have Dr. Joan Culpepper Morgan from Harlem Hospital, and we're talking about colon cancer. Dr. Culpepper Morgan is the chief gastroenterologist at Harlem Hospital, so we have the expert in the house to give you all the information you need about colonoscopies, about colon cancer, so that this way you can make an informed decision about getting screened for this disease.
And not be embarrassed to death.
Do not be embarrassed to death. And you know what? Sean was saying, you know what? We need to resort to scare tactics. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't know. Scare tactics, that's never cool. But you know what? If that's what it takes to get you to go get screened, then I'm all for it.
Yes.
Because as Dr. Culpepper Morgan stated, this is one of the most preventable and treatable cancers that is out there. So we need to take this serious. And
when we catch the disease, when we catch the disease early, we can do fantastic things. But when it's late and people start bleeding from the rectum, and they start getting blockages, when they get nausea and vomiting and pain, and when they get things in their liver because the tumor has now gone beyond the wall of the colon and it's spread into the liver, then it's too late.
You talk about scare tactics. she just laid it all out. Like,
but the thing is, this is not. So what you're saying is, once this goes down, there's no the comfort is gone. The comfort that you would have had when you got your colonoscopy, and we gave you all of those nice cocktails that you spoke of.
That's right.
And we did what we had to do, went in and took those polyps out, and now you're good for 10 years. All of that is out the window at this point.
And I think you said that once you get in, once you start bleeding from the rectum, you're like in a bad stage, a final stage.
Right. You're in the late stages because now you have a symptomatic cancer. So now you have to go to my surgical colleagues. And don't get me wrong, they can do miracles too. They have their tricks, and things have come along a far way. But I've heard people say, well, I don't want anything done. I'll just die of this. This is not the kind of death that you want to have, because when colon cancer is really advanced and it really blocks the colon and you really can't use your bowels anymore, then they have to create one of those colostomy bags. And sometimes you may not even be able to do that, and you just may have to die in a situation where you can no longer take food by mouth because there's just no place for it to go because you're blocked off. So we don't want you to suffer. We don't want your loved ones to lose you prematurely. I was telling the gentleman here about the case of Joel Siegel, who some of you may have remembered used to do reviews on movies and so forth on ABC.
Siskel and Ebert.
And this was around the same time as Siskel and Ebert. And he was a prominent personality, and he got married later in life. He was 57 when he got married, and he had a baby. And the kid was around 1 or 2, and he was like, well, gee, let me start taking care of myself. Now, here's a gentleman that you would think is kind of cosmopolitan, educated. He's a TV personality. He was 57, and he had never had a colon cancer. They called colonoscopy. And guess what? He had the colonoscopy, and he had advanced colon cancer.
Advanced?
Advanced.
And he did not know beforehand.
It wasn't painful or nothing.
No, it wasn't painful. He was just thinking, well, gee, let me start doing all those things that the doctor told me that I should do. Get my chest x-ray, get my colonoscopy. And as it turned out, it was too late for the colonoscopy. He was 7 years late. You're supposed to get it at age 50. And he died at age 63 from colon cancer.
So honestly, there's no, as far as constipation, as far as stomach, stomach pain, there's nothing.
You may have nothing. As a matter of fact, the vast majority of people who have colon cancer have no symptoms, and I think it's very hard for people to understand. But the bowel has a lot of stretch to it, and there's just a lot of room in there, so things can grow and take up a lot of space without you feeling any problem whatsoever. So this is why we screen. We screen because the body is not very good at letting us know that there is something growing in there that is very, very wrong and very bad.
So is there a way to give because I know they have all these commercials on TV, and sometimes you go into an office and you see a poster of something. Is there a way to give a description of what a healthy large intestine looks like inside versus someone who's in that last stage of colon cancer?
Well, I will say I will give you the description of the healthy colon, because the healthy colon inside looks like it's a salmon pink color. It's very smooth, it's glistening, and there's not a lot of red, and it's very even in its surface. When you have a cancer, you get a lot of red and white and uneven and areas of hardness and softness, and it just looks like a big bad sore or an ulcer. But we don't want you to have to look at ugly pictures, and we don't want you to have to get into that situation. When a polyp looks like a little mushroom. And when we take them out and people say, that little thing, and it's like, yeah, that little thing can become a cancer. Well, you give it 5 years, it'll become a cancer. So we are so far out ahead of the cancer. We know exactly how long it's going to take to get you from having nothing to having a cancer. So we can come in there, like I said, at year 3, plop those things out, and you're good to go, and you're good for another 5 to 10 years.
So I'm just curious to know. So when there's no polyps inside your large intestines, all the waste flows very well. But then once you get that large polyp or that boulder, so it starts to clog your large intestines. Can I say that?
In a very late stage, I'm telling you, there's just a lot of room in there. You can have a lot of polyps. I've had people taking 10 polyps out of them, and they never had any constipation. It's amazing. And, you know, the intestine just has a lot of capacitance. It just can take a lot. Some people do have constipation who later on develop colon cancer. There's a higher risk of colon cancer in people who are constipated. But believe you me, you can be almost totally blocked off and still be having normal bowel movements. And that's the scary thing about this disease. There are no predictable bad signs, except for bleeding. No predictable bad signs. And once you get to bleeding, it's pretty late in the game.
Wow. And what is the earliest age that an individual, because I know the guidelines say 50 is the benchmark. That's when we
40 or something like that.
For African Americans,
but it's different for different people, right?
Now, so here's the thing: many of us who treat African Americans would like to see the age for African Americans move back 5 years to 45. The problem is that the insurance companies won't pay for age 45.
Jerks.
So
gotta throw that in there. Jerks. I hope you hear it.
Yeah.
So we have to do what we can to try to get people in. But if you have a family history, so you have a family member, you need to know when they developed their colon cancer or when they developed their polyps, because if this is a first-degree relative, and that means mother, father, sister, brother, first-degree relative, so not grandparents or not cousins, not aunts, not uncles. So mother, father, sister, brother who developed a colon cancer or developed serious polyps, whatever age they developed it, you need to have your colonoscopy 10 years before that age.
So quick question, and this is an example, ladies and gentlemen. My father was diagnosed with colon cancer at 45. So should I go 35 or earlier? Because those
35.
polyps could have been developing when he was 40, correct? If the cancer progresses, or it takes 5 years for the polyp to become cancerous,
right?
Then he started at, let's say, 40. Then should I be going this year?
So that's why if you're 35, then you should go at 35.
Okay. That's 5 years. I got 5 years.
You got 5
years. I might go early. So what would be, is there any advantage to going earlier? If an individual had a similar situation, a family member that was diagnosed with colon cancer, let's say at 45, I know the recommendation is 35, but is there any advantages of going even earlier than that?
There really isn't. And then I find that what happens is that people get lulled into a false sense of security because they say, oh, well, I went at 30 and I was cool, so I'll wait till 40. No.
Doesn't work like that.
You need to have it at the 10-year mark, because that's when something is going to happen.
Got it. So this is some heavy stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? Before we go to break, I have a challenge for the listening audience.
What's the challenge?
And the challenge is, whatever argument, evidence, or feelings, emotions that you have against colonoscopies, against physicians, against gastroenterologists, I want you to call in and let us know.
Tell us
what's
your
going on in
feelings.
your brain that you won't go and get this screening done. I want to know. I think I know you guys want to know. Other listeners out there want to know, and make your case. We're gonna give you the shot to make your case, but let's be dignified in all of this. We're gonna, you argue your point, and then we'll do our best to counter it.
And not even that, the policy piece. The policy piece, as far as Dr. Culpepper Morgan says, that sometimes your insurance company may not allow you to get an earlier test because of your age, and that's why we have this new Affordable Care Act. And actually, that's going to be a topic next week that we'll talk about later in the show. But my thing is that I'm sick and I want to go to the doctor. And what are you telling me that I can't?
Wow. Right. So we got the challenge on the table, ladies and gentlemen. Call in.
Tell us your fears.
Tell us your fears. Tell us your evidence, whatever you got. And we will, debate you on this live on the air. You're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I did not just give out the number. It's 212-650-6903 if you want to take us up on that challenge. Once again, 212-650-6903 if you want to call in with any questions, comments, or concerns, or if you just want to say why you won't or even will get a colonoscopy done in the near future. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is your boy 50 Cent, and I'm here with Scott.
Hi there.
Scott's a true family man, but he might not catch your attention right away, so I'm lending my voice. Now, what happened, Scott?
Well, 50, I never thought it would be me. I was just your everyday, middle-class working American. But then I lost my job and still had a family of 4 to feed. I was afraid. I was expecting people to be judgmental about me needing help, but I didn't run into any of that. The food bank is about more than just meals. It's about encouraging and helping people when they need it most.
Today, 1 in 6 Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. Scott here could be your neighbor, your co-worker, your friend. He's just like you, and you probably don't even know he's struggling. But you can make a difference in Scott's life today. So visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find a local food bank to help.
I'm Scott.
And I'm 50 Cent. Together we are Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 to 12 midnight on WHCR 90.3 FM. Peace.
WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Welcome back to Health in Harlem, ladies and gentlemen. I'm MARICE SELBY.
And this is Sean Shivers.
And tonight we have with us Dr. Joan Culpepper Morgan from Harlem Hospital. She is the chief of gastroenterology, and we're finishing up our conversation about colon cancer. And
don't be embarrassed to death.
Don't be embarrassed to death. That
Make
is
an informed decision.
The theme of tonight's show. Make it an informed decision. And we actually had a caller. I'm sorry that I lost you, but if you want to call back and make your case, you are more than welcome. It's 212-650-6903. That's 212-650-6903. And my bad on that error. Technical error. I can't believe that's
so. The question that I had during break is that I want to, if Dr. Culpepper Morgan, can you please explain to the audience what is the process? I want to get a colonoscopy now. I'm in the clinic. What is that whole process?
Okay, let me walk you through it. So you're 50 years old. You know you need a colonoscopy. The first thing you need is you'll need a referral from your primary care physician. Okay, so you can't just come to the gastroenterologist with most insurances. You can't just walk in and get a colonoscopy.
Got it.
You really have to have a referral from your PCP. Your PCP is the gatekeeper for all of your health care, but especially your preventative health care. So your PCP refers you to me, the gastroenterologist, and the gastroenterologist will then evaluate you to make sure you don't have any problems, any medical problems that would make having a colonoscopy dangerous or difficult. Now, I will say this, at some of the health and hospitals corporations, our sister hospital, Lincoln, you can go, your PCP can refer you directly to the Lincoln doctor, and you can actually get referred to the colonoscopy suite, meaning you see your private a personal physician. They say, well, you know what, Maurice, you need to have a colonoscopy, so I'm going to send you over here to I'm going to make an appointment with you, and you'll go directly to colonoscopy.
Wow.
At Harlem, we see you before you actually see us in endoscopy. So you come and you visit us. We do a brief history and physical. We make sure you don't have any problems with your heart or your lungs, no problems that would make the colonoscopy dangerous for you, and then we set you up and you come to our endoscopy suite. We have a brand new state-of-the-art endoscopy suite at Harlem. It is exactly 2 years old, I believe.
Sweet.
And we have all the state-of-the-art equipment. So you come into our waiting room, and then you are escorted into the pre-op area, where you will remove your clothes, and you'll get a gown, and you'll get an intravenous placed, and you'll be placed on a stretcher. And that's the stretcher on which you will have your procedure, so you will not have to leave that stretcher. So the nurses will ask you some questions and then wheel you into the actual procedure room when we're ready. And put you in the room. You'll get some monitors put on you. You get all sorts of lines that will monitor your heart rate and then monitor your oxygen, and you'll also get some oxygen in your nose, because everybody breathes a little bit less when they have the procedure, so they get some oxygen in their nose. And then we have you sign the last little set of forms to basically confirm your identification, and then that's probably one of the last things that you'll remember, because then we'll start giving you some medication.
The cocktail.
We'll give you the cocktail, and I like to tell people, think of your favorite Caribbean island and go there. You drift off to sleep, we do the procedure, you wake up and you say when you're going to start, we say we're finished, and we roll you back into the recovery area. You put your clothes on, we give you some gory pictures to take home of your colonoscopy. Some people look at them, some people don't. And that's it. And hopefully you had a clean colonoscopy, and we tell you, guess what? You don't have to come back and see me for another 10 years.
So basically, and actually that's true when I got my own colonoscopy. So you get results immediately results.
That's right. Now,
so
if
no
we
waiting, no anxiety,
right.
and
now
stress.
if we take out a polyp, I won't say no anxiety, because if we take out a polyp and we find something, then we have to send that to the lab, and then they have to tell us just how bad it is and make sure it's not a cancer. So that's what we do, and then we'll have you come back and see us in the clinic after the pathologist has had a chance to look at the polyp.
Got it. Thank you very much for that comprehensive walkthrough.
And put it like this, I like that, because someone who was scared of the process and listening to how you just laid it out, there should be no reason why you don't want to go and get it done.
Well, and what if, because individuals, as we said, we want you all to make an informed decision. Where can people go for more information if they want to? And we're talking about good information, ladies and gentlemen.
They can go to the website of the American College of Gastroenterology. There's information there, and you just search for colonoscopy on that website. They can go to the Department of Health of New York City. Also has information on colonoscopy and colon cancer screenings, has all of the information about what's been happening in New York. New York has been leading the country in this effort, and this is including Health and Hospitals Corporation hospitals, as well as non-Health and Hospitals Corporation hospitals. We have joined together in this effort. It's called the C5 effort, and we've joined together, and we've had some very, very good results. So especially in New York, the Department of Health website has excellent information on colon cancer, colonoscopies and screening, as does the American College of Gastroenterology website. Has good information.
So, is there someone who wants to get it done at Harlem Hospital? You did say you have to get a referral from your PCP. Is there a number or something they can contact? Or
they can contact the clinic at Harlem Hospital. So if they call the general number,
That's 212-939-1000.
1000, and they ask for the medical clinic. Then they will then be referred to the appropriate person, and they'll get an appointment made.
Excellent.
Sounds like a plan. And Dr. Culpepper Morgan, as we begin to wrap up, what would you say is the most important message that our listening audience must take home tonight?
Don't be embarrassed to death. Colon cancer is beatable, treatable, and preventable.
That's what's up.
Okay,
We have your back.
And what happens in endoscopy?
Pun intended.
What happens in endoscopy stays in endoscopy. Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened. We take good care of you.
Don't be frightened. I think that's a good note that we can end on.
We had a lot of good notes today.
No, for sure. I think we got a lot of good information. And ladies and gentlemen, I just encourage you to, if you still have more questions, as Dr. Culpepper Morgan said, you can go to the American College of Gastroenterology website. You could even type in a name in Google. I'm quite sure it pops right up. First selection.
Department of Health.
And you can Department of Health. You can go to the CDC. There's tons of good information out there. But I just caution you. I caution you. This is the dangers of the information age, as well as that there's a lot of bad information out there as
because
well.
I just got some of it.
Right.
There's a lot of bad information out there as well. A lot of unreliable information. And we want you to go and choose your sources wisely as you make this decision. Remember,
and as I said, colonoscopy has been proven. It works. It's simple. It is painless. We take care of you, and the doctors that do this care, and they're very, very able at what they do. I personally have done this procedure thousands of times. If you can imagine. I have done it thousands of times, and most gastroenterologists, I know I'm not alone, they have done it thousands of times. So you are in good hands when you go. I know people can't imagine how you can do this. We do this all of the time. So we can get there, and we can get you in and out. The procedure itself, by the way, doesn't take more than about an hour. The procedure itself doesn't take more than about an hour. Now, I won't lie to you. You might have to wait before, you might have to wait after. But the procedure itself, that's the easy part. That's the easy part.
Got it. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Culpepper Morgan. It's always a pleasure to have you on Health in Harlem.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to having you again. Thank you very much, Sean Shivers.
Thank you, my brother,
Always
Mr.
good.
Selby.
I look forward to Thursdays, man. Every time I see Sean, I got to see Dr. Culpepper Morgan.
Knowledge.
Got to learn some new things.
Correct.
New information.
But next week, make sure you tune in the healthcare reform, the Affordable Care Act. People call it Obamacare. It is impacting, or is going to impact, our community, and it's also going to impact the way we do things at Harlem Hospital. So if you want to learn more about this, because it's going to affect your life as well, tune in next week at 7.
Yes, tune in. And we also want to thank Miss Valerie Wright. She is the producer of Health in Harlem. Very passionate about this show and about informing you, the listening audience. So definitely we want to thank her. And we can't have a show without you out there listening to WHCR 90.3 FM New York. So thank you to the listening audience. And we just tell you to keep that dial right where it is, because there's more great programming to come. This show, ladies and gentlemen, is dedicated to the memory of Miss Gloria Thomas. Harlem, take care of yourself.
Open up your heart.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Don't be shy with love in your heart. You got to be conscious. You got to be righteous. Can't you see the sign of the time we're living in? Got to use it every day. It's what we need today. Whoa. We got to use it every day. It's what we need today. Wisdom and knowledge will guide you through. Don't you be the devil too. No. You can't guide a people without your vision. You shall surely go astray. Every day, it's what we need today. You got to use it every day. It's what we need today. Oh, wisdom. Whoa. Oh, right now. Oh, wisdom. The Bible can teach you wisdom, whether you wife or you done. An elder can teach you wisdom, whether you're old or you're young. Oh, wisdom, oh, wisdom, oh, wisdom. Only a fool trust in his own eyes and disregard correction. You got to be humble, free from anger, and your days shall be low. You gotta use every day. It's what we need today. You gotta use it, yeah. Every day. It's what we need today. Oh, wisdom. All right now. Oh, wisdom. Hey.
Fellow citizens of Africa, I greet you in the name of the Universal Negro Movement Association and African Communities League of the World. As you are aware, the world in which we live today is divided into separate race groups and distinct nationalities. Each race and each nationality is endeavoring to work out its own destiny to the exclusion of other races and other nationalities. We hear the cry of England for the Englishman, of France for the Frenchman, of Germany for the German, of Ireland for the Irish, of Palestine for the Jew, of Japan for the Japanese, of China for the Chinese. We of the Universal Negro Movement Association are raising the cry of Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. The great problem of the Negro for the last 500 years has been that of disunity. No one or no organization ever succeeded in uniting the Negro race.
prison the bodies of men, but you cannot shackle or imprison the minds of men. Turn them down. Words from Marcus Messiah Garvey. Words, sound, and power. They do not know what we are capable of. They do not know what we are thinking. They're thinking in terms of dreadnoughts, battleships, airplanes, submarines. You know what we're thinking about? That is our own private business. Black men of Ethiopia, Timbuktu, and Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt. Because classes, nations, races have been quite for over 4 centuries. Was merely born of use, insult, humiliation. Whose forbearance can only be compared to the prophet Job, as likewise lifted his bowed head and raised it up to God's eyes and cried out, I am a man, and demand a man's chance and a man's treatment in this world. But I shall teach the black man, I shall teach the black man to see beauty in his own mind and stop bleaching his skin and otherwise looking like what he's now. African freedom, African freedom, chant them down, chant them down. God made man long in his creation, gave him possession and ownership of the world. And you have been so darn lazy that you've allowed the other fellow to run away with the whole world, and now he's bluffing you and telling you that the world belongs to him and that you have no part in it. I don't have to try to tell you about being black, because God Almighty knew exactly what he was doing when he made me black. If black people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves. Yes, you heard of Johnny Walker Red and black. Well, he had his adversity, but he's still going strong. Well, I intend with your help and God's grace to continue. But my work has only just begun. And future generations shall have in their hands the guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. I know you two believe in time, but we shall wait patiently for 200 years if need be to face our enemies through our posterity. When my enemies are satisfied, in life I shall come back, or in death even to serve you as I served before. In life I shall be the same, in death I shall be a terror to the foe. Teach them, Garvey, teach them. Tell them, Garvey, tell them. Want them, Garvey, want them. Chant them down. Chant them down. Garvey, Mosiah, Garvey. If death has power, then come and be to be the real Marcus Garvey I would like to be. If I may come in an earthquake or a plague or a pestilence, or as God would have me, then be assured that I shall never desert you and make your enemies triumph over you. Will I not go to hell a million times for you? If I die in Atlanta, my work will only just then begin. But I shall live in the physical or the spiritual to see the day of Africa. When I am dead, wrap the mantle in the red, the black and the green around me, for in the new life I shall rise up first. God's grace and blessing to lead the millions of the heights and the cover that you have known. Look for me in a world when there are stars. Look for me all around you. For with God's grace, I shall come back to countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa, to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and right. African freedom, African freedom, and liberty. Chant them down, chant them down. Garvey, Garvey, Mosiah, Garvey, colleges, the universities have thrown away the classic record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You raise the cowards, you raise the imbeciles, you raise the good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you have to die.
Teach them, Gabby, teach them. Want them, Gabby, want them. Tell them, Gabby, tell them. Chant them down. Chant them down. Gabby, Marcus, Gabby. Chant them down. Chant them down. Gabby.
Can we do it? We can do it. We shall do it.
African must do it. African must do it. African got to do it. Chant them down. Chant them down. Gabby, Marcus.
We'll be fighting. It's not against yellow, red, or whiteys. Our physical, natural enemies. Asexual orientation, the religious affiliation, the prolonged